What's going on, everyone? Berial here, and I got something in the mail today. I'm pretty excited to show you guys. Boom. This is the Mad Catz Street Fighter V Fightstick Alpha. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Alpha Stick is a smaller, more compact version of some of their more popular models, like the Tournament Edition or the TE2 sticks. It is definitely going to be a lot more compact than most fight sticks and fight stick users are accustomed to. But I figured I'd give it a try just because I was looking for something smaller. I have a Kanba Glow 2, and it's big. I like it a lot, but I just want something that's not going to take up a whole lot of space. So mainly looking at the box art's pretty cool. Looks like you got Nikali, Bison, Charlie, Chun-Li, and Ryu. Looks like Cammy may be over here. On the side, we have got Mika with the Mad Catz scratch, very strategically covering her butt. That was an interesting choice. And then it looks like we got Birdie on this side as well. So can't really make it out on the resolution on my webcam, but on the back it's obviously going to break down your features, so on and so forth. And due to webcam error, I was going to unbox this over the webcam, but it looked like it crashed on me the last take I did. So I'm going to go ahead and put that aside and show you the fight stick. Yeah, definitely a lot smaller than most fight stick users are accustomed to. So the first thing you're going to see is that it is primarily a 3-button setup. You are not going to have your 4th button over here or here. Believe it or not, L1 and L2 are here respectively. Now personally, I won't use these shortcuts for triple punch or triple kick. I'll just use the 2-button setups for EX moves. But overall, the design has a edge-to-edge display. It is very, very thin, very light. There's no weight to it whatsoever. Maybe, I'm guessing, about 3 or 4 pounds, not even. That actually may be pushing it. For scale size, this is my hand compared to the stick itself. So if you were looking for something compact, make sure you have tiny hands, because this stick will not work in the hands of bigger guys or people who just have banana mittens, pretty much. It's not going to do too well. So other features we have near the top are going to be obviously your PlayStation button. This is a PS3 and a PS4 fight stick, so you can switch between the two. We got a lock button and then a D-pad and analog stick switch if you would like. Over here closer to the middle we have your select and your start buttons, and then of course the L1, L2. The joystick itself has a pretty standard gait to it. It's got a nice feel, especially for people who love playing as Zangief for command grab heavy characters. Feels like it have a pretty good response time. The one feature I'm kind of digging so far is these little grooves right here. Now granted, may not work too well for me, but if you can take a look, I can rest my palms down there and it feels a little more natural than just having your hands on top of that or hovering. I can't stand hovering when it comes to fight sticks. So feels a little more natural for me when I'm using these little grooves on the side. Although I am a little curious, I feel like that Street Fighter V logo will fade over time the more you use that feature. The only two things I'm not too fond of are, number one, there is no doorway to hide the cable, so this cable will be exposed at all times, so make sure you get yourself some Velcro or something to hold the cable in place. Some of the higher end fight sticks will have that little compartment that you can open up to stuff the cable in. This is not one of those sticks. Number two, don't know how I feel about the grips. They aren't really sticking to a whole lot of surface, so I feel like when it comes to a certain amount of input, especially since I love playing charge characters like Bison, I feel like it'll actually move the faster I use my charges. So maybe look at reinforcing the bottom with something possibly weighted, or even if you can make a template for something made out of something along the lines of sandpaper or something like that to get you more grip, I'd probably recommend doing that. But overall, I'm going to get a couple of matches in, see exactly how I feel about using this stick, and we'll come back here in a little bit with a final verdict. But that is the Mad Catz Alpha Stick. If you're looking to get into owning a fight stick or using something that has better inputs for a competitive fighter, and you're not looking to break the bank, this normally retails at most chains for around $80, whereas your average going price for a very good fight stick is around $150 and higher. So if you're looking to get started, I'd probably recommend the stick. I'm going to get a little more experience with it and give you guys a verdict at the end of the video. But let's give it a shot and see what I think.
So first things first, let's go over what's good about this stick. The inputs are very smooth, they got very springy and clicky buttons, and they seem to be pretty responsive with the inputs that you can throw out at a pretty fast pace. So the good news is that Shoto characters such as Ken aren't really going to have too many issues when it comes to inputting commands. Hadoukens are pretty smooth, Shoryukens, Tatsumaki, so basically your Dragon Punch inputs, all the random standard stuff that you throw out as Shoto characters, not too hard to do. The stick itself is pretty lightweight. It probably clocks in at about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 pounds. There's not much to it. So as long as you're not just wailing on the stick left and right, it's not going to go anywhere. Overall, you can play with it on a desk or on a lap with relative ease. It's not too bad in terms of, play location, although I'd probably stick with a level surface like a table, mainly because although it is light and it doesn't go too much to the left or the right when you're inputting commands, if you are getting pretty jittery and you're in a fast-paced fight, then it does have the potential to slip around on you and you can kind of screw up your inputs. So be careful with that. But responsive, lightweight, and easily portable too. I do like that factor a lot. On the flip side, I am primarily a charge character. Unless you have tiny hands, I cannot really recommend this stick for charge characters. I've always played as Bison and Guile competitively, and I love those characters to death. But on something this small with the size of hands that I have very cramped workspace to play around with, and even worse, my charges would move the stick, because I'm a plink charger. Especially with Guile, I like throwing sonic booms as fast as possible, and that constant shifting to the left for holding your back charge while throwing out the sonic boom commands, or even Bison's knee press kicks, those going left and right are very, very hard to manage in my opinion. I kept messing up my inputs. Now again, I've had a Kanba Q2 for the longest time, so I consider myself a fight stick user as opposed to fight pads and controllers, which I can use as well. But my commands weren't coming out the way that they were supposed to, and even worse, especially with how damaging Bison can be with his setups of his V-trigger cancels, I could not get my heavy kick V-trigger cancel, heavy kick, and then mix-ups or shenanigans afterwards. I could get it maybe out of 1 or 2 attempts out of 5 in total, and I just couldn't really rely on it. Now, that's not to say that you wouldn't be good with the stick if you consistently use it day in and day out, but since I primarily play charge characters, I have to recommend a bigger and a heavier stick, because you are going to be all over the place in terms of throwing out fast charge moves and even trying to attempt charge combos. It is kind of a nightmare for me. But that's pretty much going to do it on the stick front. Overall, getting about 15 matches in with it or so, I'm going to have to give the Mad Catz Street Fighter V Alpha a 7.5 out of 10. While there are other sticks on the market that are much better, this one does not break the bank, and it's a good place to get started, but it is not for everyone. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's going to do it for me. Have a good one.